It's the Week 7 edition of the Coach's Corner on Leominster TV, joined as always by Leominster High School head coach Dave Palazzi. I am Todd Robbins, welcoming you to another edition of the Coach's Corner. Coach, good to have you back after a couple of week hiatus. Happy to have you back in the chair there, and unfortunately not with better news. But let's start first talking a little bit about the Leominster High School Athletics Hall of Fame. The other night, you and I had an opportunity to attend along with Kate and some others. 14 players, 2 teams. It was a great night at the Leominster Lodge of Elks, and more importantly, it's a great opportunity, of course, to bring back that entire Blue Devil athletic family and get everyone together and celebrate the greatness.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we had the 75 track team go in, 78, 79 ice hockey team, Lauren Hatfield. We had a number of people that I grew up, not only I was younger but older, just watching, really getting me going when I was a kid. I mean, those teams back in the day. I mean, Bob Frechette and track and LeQuire and the hockey teams. I mean, it just it was a great night. They did a nice job. The athletic committee for our Hall of Fame at the high school, they put together a ton of names from, you know, the 70s, 80s, 90s, and on the way up. It was just a fantastic evening, and you know, I was proud to be a part of it.
Thought a more current athlete in Lindsay Delicia, who went in a 2004 grad of Leominster High School, summed it up, I thought, best. Once a Blue Devil, always a Blue Devil. Pretty much aligns with your policy now, doesn't it?
Yeah, she didn't wear red either. I mean, that was thrown in there, but you know, it just you know, the type of atmosphere we want to create today is really that. It's all about Blue Devil pride and wearing blue and, you know, respecting your teammates and going out there and playing hard. And I think she exemplified that more than anybody when she played at Leominster High School. So it was good to hear a number of those stories, you know, from Mr. Fran Josie, who was my principal at Fallbrook when I was a kid. I mean, he was a tennis coach, and he did a fantastic job for the number of years that he had participated as a coach, and just, you know, really exemplified what Leominster High is all about from every sport and everything we try to accomplish.
Interestingly, we talk about the type of athlete that we have in this day and age, and the athlete that maybe hasn't grown up here, that maybe, you know, has come into town recently, so they don't have an understanding of perhaps the pride or the type of community this is athletically, and trying to translate that information to them. I thought that was the most striking thing, is the number of athletes who were inducted into the Hall of Fame the other night who said that was their experience, where their parents had maybe just moved to Leominster before they became high school students, and then they left immediately afterward, but yet they still feel this tremendous sense of connection to a place where they only were for 4 years of their lives. That speaks awfully powerfully to the type of athletes you're dealing with today.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, we just, we're trying to set the tone. I mean, athletics is a good thing for kids to be involved with. They do better in school. It's more discipline. They're learning about the ways of life that's going to be beyond high school. They're learning about responsibility and different things, and it can help kids grow both self-esteem-wise, confidence-wise. We've spoken about this before, and there's so many things for kids to do nowadays. It's getting more and more difficult sometimes to get kids to try out for a high school athletic sport, but you know, we have plenty of activities we can do. It's after school, it's convenient, the games are after school, we got some great coaches, so we're just hoping that, you know, that continues, and I think it's a great experience for anybody to be a part of an athletic team. And I think you know, we try to create the family atmosphere, and hopefully we can get to that point in a lot of sports moving forward.
Blue Devil family welcomes all comers, so long as you don't wear red. So we welcome all comers in that variety. All right, let's talk about the football season here. Since the last time we saw Coach Palazzi, a Week 6 loss to Wachusett, a 16-6 final score in that game. Blue Devils fall to 0-6 through the first 6 weeks of the season. We have the stats for you from the game the other night. Let's take a look at those now. As you can see, in total offense, Mountaineers led in that category, 333 yards to 157 yards. They led in passing yards, 204 to 124, rushing yards, 129 to 33. First downs, doubled them up, 16 for the Mountaineers to the Blue Devils 8, and the 1 turnover, of course, you know, being something to bear in mind as well. So those are the stats through the 6th week matchup with Wachusett, Coach. And one of the things I think that we've really taken away since the last time you and I sat here and had this conversation, defense has become the identity of this football team, and they've created the opportunities week in and week out to give the offense a chance. Speaks very highly to the, you know, what is really a lot of the same players playing on both sides of the football, but they've given themselves a chance on the defensive side of the ball to be successful in the overall game.
Yeah, I think Coach Murphy's done a great job with the defense, along, you know, with some of the other coaches, Coach Curtin and just doing a great job, Coach Navarro with the DBs. But they do a good job preparing for games. There's a number of games now that everybody can watch to prepare for games week in and week out, and other teams are doing the same to us. But we had two touchdowns defensively during Doherty, and the other night we just played fantastic. It's just frustrating, I'm the offensive coordinator, to be held to 6 points, and then you look at Westfield, we score 28 and we give up 29, and it's just Doherty, we do great and we don't score. So we just got to put it together and have a total game. I mean, Bill Belichick says it best: there's 3 phases to the game. They're very important, each and every one of them, and you can't have turnovers and things like that. But it is nice to see that a defense is playing well, and we just got to do a better job offensively and down the stretch and get some wins.
Speaking to the number of athletes that are playing on both sides of the football, one would have to hope that in building that momentum on the defensive side of the ball, in getting the ball back, in stopping the big play from the other team, in keeping them off the board, they can use that and translate that momentum to the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, offensively, we got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. We got a play here and a play there that if we do one thing, it's a touchdown or it's a big first down, and to be 1st and 15 and 2nd and 20 and things like that is not easy to overcome. But you're right. I mean, the defense the other night gave us plenty of opportunities. I mean, Wachusett went down a score, made it 13-6, and then we get the ball, we cross the 50, and we fumble the ball, we lose the ball, the handoff, whatever it was. It just it's frustrating because you put a game plan together, you kind of think what other teams are going to do, and I thought we were spot on with what I thought. I thought Wachusett was going to come off the edge. They wouldn't let us roll out, so we didn't do any rollouts. We didn't go over any of that this week, and we just couldn't take advantage of certain things. I mean, we hit a couple big hitters with Marchand, and Coach had a long run, but for the most part, we just couldn't do any more than that. And it was a frustrating night, speaking offensively.
When you talk about that offense and you look at either 2 ways where they have either been successful and then stalled, never showing up probably at the same time. Either they've been able to produce the points and then not able to keep drives alive, or the drives stall out and never give you the opportunity to produce points. One of those 2 things has kind of been the deal. If you could get them both to show up on the same night, long continuous drives that eventually result in points, you'd be in a dangerous situation.
Yeah, and this is an old story with Roger Mercy. Back in the day when Coach Stepsinski was coaching, and they'd run the ball, have an unbelievable running offense, and I said, Roger, it's very difficult to have a 13, 14, 15 play drive and score and not have a penalty, not have something go wrong where you end up on a 2nd and long or 3rd and long. So I've always been a believer. Yeah, I would love to do that, but you also have to have a big play in there here and there, something, and we just haven't been able to have that big play the last few weeks to get us going. We had a couple guys open, we're just not connecting. I mean, it's a team effort, and we just need to work harder. We need to have some big plays and some threat on the outside or something that can get teams. I mean, they're sending the house on us, and we just have to be able to block it up and take advantage. But I think you're spot on. I think it's always something on offense that we don't get done, but we're working at it. The kids are working hard, and we're just going to have to get back at it Saturday and see, let the chips fall where they may.
Certainly. An 0-6 team to this point. We know what the record says. It's a different viewpoint at this point in the season. Obviously, when you're in your preseason and you project out where things are going to go, that is kind of now by the wayside. Deal with what is in front of you. At this point, it's an 0-6 season. It changes your viewpoint a little bit. What is it? We started talking about it a little bit in the pregame last week. What is now the viewpoint, the goal? Is it achieve that first victory? Is it try to win the next drive? Is it try to win the next play? Or how much can you modify that viewpoint in a day-to-day, week-to-week fashion?
Well, we have homecoming. I mean, I think we've done a great job with just getting the kids to play hard. I mean, I think we watched the film today. I thought our defense was flying to the ball. I thought they were playing physical. I thought we did a lot of nice things on offense. I mean, we just got to we have to keep playing hard. I mean, you can't focus on the pass. Yeah, it is frustrating for a lot of the seniors, 0-6, but I give these kids all the credit in the world. They show up, in the rain, in the muddy field, and they're practicing hard, and everybody's playing like we're in a playoff hunt. And I don't facetiously say that. These kids have been great, and we want to win. I mean, it's Leominster football. We want to go out. We want to win Saturday. It's homecoming. We want to win on the kickoff. We want to fumble. We want want to mangle people, we want to hit people. I mean, that's the outlook. I mean, that's the way we're going to go. We're not going to stop coaching. We're not going to blame kids. We're not going to do any of that. I mean, these kids are fired up. They're going to be ready to go, and that's what it's all about. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, it's football. You can't run. You can't hide. So you got to play hard, and our guys have been doing that, and hopefully we'll come out on the good end this weekend.
One place where you've won the battle has been the battle of field position, and I know that for you, it's a benefit, but it's also a curse in some ways, because when you're winning the battle of field position, that means you're kicking off probably one time too many, or that you're punting one time too many. From an offensive standpoint, it gives you an itch. Right. But you're winning the battle of field position and forcing the offense of your opposition to go the long field. Yeah,
and I mean, last night was a perfect example. I mean, we're getting kickoffs down there. We made some nice plays. Connor Marchand with the punts inside the 5, inside the 10. I mean, that's huge, just to hold them down there. But we got to take advantage of it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's no one that's more frustrated than I am. I mean, it's really, really frustrating when you know you're playing well and you're trying to get some things going, and it's just a few inches away, or you don't block this guy or that guy, or you call the wrong play, or whatever it may be. So we just got to keep working at it, and hopefully we can take advantage of some of these things, and it comes together. I mean, we have 5 games left, so it's really the second half of the season. We have most of our games home, so we're gonna roll the dice and let it rip.
We'll put the bow on this Week 6 16-6 loss to Wachusett. Leominster Falls 2-0-6. Let's take a look at some other scores from around the region through this week of action. Shrewsbury tops Algonquin by a 40-13 mark. Neshoba over North Middlesex 29-6. Doherty hangs 56 on Worcester South, and Westboro hangs 35 on Fitchburg's 7, and then St. John's with a victory over Shepherd Hill, Leominster's Week 7 opponent, by a 34-20 margin. That's 6 weeks of action here and Week 6 scores from around the region. Let's take a look at the power ratings through Week 6 of action. You see Doherty on top there, 6-0, 16 points on the power rating. St. John's right behind him, a 4-2 record, but their power ratings, thanks to their opponent's strength, 15.10, good enough for second place. Shrewsbury with the better overall record at a 5-1 mark, but speaking to the opposition they've played, their points, quality-wise, 2 points almost below St. John's at 13.63 points. Wachusett a 4-2 record, 13.17. That would be your top 4 if the playoffs started through 6 weeks of action. With that said, let's look at the upcoming schedule for the Blue Devils as well. Click right on through. Shepherd Hill there on note Saturday night, October the 20th, 7 o'clock to kick off homecoming. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then Algonquin to wrap up that 8th week of action on Friday night, October the 26th. Again, a 7 o'clock kickoff out at Doyle Field. And of course, weeks 9 and 10, more details to come on those in the coming weeks. So that's what the Blue Devils have on tap. And we turn our attention, Coach, inside of Blue Devil Athletics, and we turn our attention to homecoming, which is this very neat new tradition getting started this year. Homecoming's been a thing. It was always kind of associated around football. You would have your football game. Halftime, you would have your presentation of your homecoming king and queen, and then you'd have a dance afterward, and that was homecoming. The new kind of tradition going on around the region is to move it to a Saturday, make it an all-day affair. Leominster getting in on that this year. Talk to me a little bit about the development of that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we, Dubs, Coach Dubs and I call him Coach, Dr. Dubzinski, our principal, we really wanted to ratchet up the pride about being a Blue Devil, and, being a football guy. I've always thought of homecoming, what about the other programs? What about the other teams? So I really, wanted to get the whole school involved, and we tried to get as many teams as we could involved in the homecoming day. So, we have a slew of games scheduled for Saturday. This Saturday, October 20th, where we're going to start with freshman football was already scheduled with Shepherd Hill. Okay. And the JVs are away. That's just how that worked out. So they'll be at 10 a.m. And then we have our varsity field hockey team will be playing at noontime against Shepherd Hill. And then we fit in 2 Fitchburg games with our varsity soccer team. So girls varsity soccer at 1:45 versus Fitchburg. And then 3:45 we're going with the boys varsity against Fitchburg. And then we'll have the normal Saturday evening game against Shepherd Hill at 7 p.m. for football. We're planning on having a huge tent. There'll be face painting, a number of things for kids to do, selling different things. There'll be clubs, activities down there at the field. We're just asking right now during the day, admission's going to be free. We'll just be taking donations for the athletic program. So whatever you can afford or you feel, fit to dedicate to the program, that's what we're going to take. So we're not really charging, but we just more or less want people to get down there, feel the vibe, watch the other teams play. I think it'll be good for all these other teams to play in front of a big crowd and just get that going.
So what you're saying is the price is right. It's all-day entertainment. It costs nothing until the football game at 7 o'clock. Sounds like a pretty good deal. Nice way to spend a Saturday, and right now the weather seems to be heading in the right direction as well. Yeah,
and I think all the clubs are going to be down there, and just to come down and enjoy the day, check out some of the other teams. I know I'll be there all day, and it's amazing. I mean, I use our boys soccer team as an example. We have our football program, and as athletic director, I've been going to all the games. But the boys varsity soccer team, I've really taken a liking to them. The way they play, they're so exciting. And I told my football team, I said, you guys got to get down there. You got to see these guys play. It's incredible. It's unbelievable. So they've been going to the games, and they love the games. I was at the girls soccer game today, and they did a nice job. I mean, they played hard in field hockey. So I think it's good for other athletes to see some of the other sports, to see some of what their peers are doing. They work hard, and I think it's good for the school, and it builds good camaraderie. I mean, I look at it like the Patriots and the Red Sox,
Certainly.
Rooting for one another. So I think it adds to just being proud of what you're doing, respecting what each other's doing. The band will be there. The cheerleaders will be there. I mean, I've always been a guy, you respect other people's passion in life. I mean, I may not like certain things or be interested in certain things, but if someone's, overly passionate about it, you got to respect that. I mean, when someone works hard for something. So that's really, the message that I want to get across, and I want people to be involved with. Just kind of respect and enjoy what other people are doing and get involved.
An opportunity to recap that one more time. So 10 a.m. it's freshman football versus Shepherd Hill. Noontime varsity field hockey versus Shepherd Hill. Then a pair of varsity soccer games, both the girls first at 1:45, the boys to follow at 3:45. Both those games against the arch rival Red Raiders of Fitchburg. And then the 7 o'clock homecoming football game versus Shepherd Hill. Homecoming court at halftime, and that new tradition now part of the entire day here with the Blue Devils. So that's coming up on Saturday as well. Coach, let's talk about Week 7 action here. Games that are going on in Week 7 of the football season, other things that will be going on. And here's what we've got. Westboro visits Shrewsbury. Neshoba will travel to Wachusett. Worcester North and Doherty play at Foley Stadium. Call that a home or away game, whatever you want. They all play at the same place. Groton Dunstable travels to Fitchburg. That's a Friday night game. And then St. John's over to Algonquin for Week 7 action. So those are the games going on around the region, some with some playoff implications and still others already decided. Let's talk about the Week 7 action for the Blue Devils. Shepherd Hill comes in to play Leominster and battles with the Rams, Coach, especially over the last so many years. Always physical. I mean, that is a hallmark of a Shepherd Hill team, is a physical, no pun intended, battering ram that you are going to be running into, and they're going to continue to pound and pound and pound and pound. Couldn't have come at a better time, though. Following up Wachusett, who also is, here's another dose of a run, and here's another dose of a run, and so on down the line. Timing was good, at least in that sense, with the schedule.
Yeah, we like to say so and think so. I mean, obviously, there's not a lot of transition for our defense as far as going from St. John's to Wachusett. I mean, you're going from Wachusett to Shepherd Hill, which are both predominantly run physical teams, and we need to play physical. We need to play fast. But obviously, Shepherd Hill, they're a good program. They'd have a tough schedule this year as well. They just lost to St. John's 34-20. The scores are kind of similar to our score, so we're going to be in for a battle, obviously. They're not out of the playoff hunt yet. I mean, Wachusett's got Neshoba this week, and they got a tough schedule, so, I'm sure Shepherd Hill is going to be ready to go. So we just have to be ready and work hard this week and be ready to play in front of our home fans for homecoming.
That physicality seems like it's something that particularly your front, both on offense and defense, seem to really enjoy this year. When I think about some of those players up front, the Philbins, Galladay, and others, they don't shy away from being physical up front, and they're going to get plenty of it on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's how those kids play. Shepherd Hill, I mean, they're physical. They try to get under your pads. They try to twist you around. They'll punch you a little bit. They'll jab your face. I mean, we were watching film, and that's how they are. They play that way, and if we don't match that intensity within the rules, obviously, then we're going to be the ones getting beat. So, we explained that today watching film. We slowed down the film a little bit. You can see, their offensive line, how physical they are, and they just want to get after it. And we just need to match that intensity.
We talked about the defense and them kind of being comparable to scheme up against. If you were to kind of delineate the difference here in the absence, of course, bringing out the whiteboard for you to diagram it up for us,
sure.
Can you delineate the difference for us between what Wachusett does versus what Shepherd Hill does? Is it really just that marginal difference?
Well, Shepherd Hill is going to be, they're going to have double tight, 2 wings, and a fullback directly behind the quarterback, and they're just going to toss it right and toss it left, and everybody's going to block down, and their guard and their tackle are going to pull around, and their quarterback, and it's going to be like a five-car pile-up every play, going right, left, and then they'll run the scissors play. They'll fake it right and go left, and throw the ball a couple times deep. But that's pretty much it. They're going to line up and try to drive it down your throat, and if you don't respond, it's it could be a long night.
Indeed, it could be, and of course they're going to try to bring it, as you note, up the middle. So from an offensive side of the ball, of course, we're talking about the changes and the adjustments and the growth that you're looking to see. What kind of things specifically, from a growth standpoint, from your offense, would you like to see in this week's matchup?
Well, they're going to come after us. They're going to line up 7 guys in the box from tackle to tackle. That's the box, and then they play some man-to-man, and we have to take advantage of that. We have to either split the seam on them if they're sending guys like we did with Adam the other night.
Certainly.
We kind of caught them, and I got to do a better job of coaching the quarterback, and hopefully he can make some throws, have some time. The line's got to give him a little bit more time, and the receivers got to catch the ball. So I'd like to see us offensively have a couple big plays, and we'll try to figure that out and put some things together for this week. But we also have to be physical up front, and we got to be able to run the ball. I think we can we can have a little bit of a run game if we want to, and that's really what we're going to work on this week. And hopefully we can get Adam going. I think he only had 5 touches last week, I think, carrying the ball, and we got to do a better job of getting him the ball.
No doubt about it, Coach. And as you hone in on your preparation this week, one of the things that you've talked about from an offensive standpoint is you want to be able to see, some growth in, the play development and where your reading plays developing. And, of course, all of that, for better for worse, centers at the quarterback spot. I mean, JC, has the blessing and the curse of carrying that job. You've carried it yourself. So when you're talking about reading and play development, what specifically would you like to see him hone in on throughout the week?
Well, I mean, we got to get rid of the ball a little quicker, but he's had different times. We've been rolling out all year, and that's kind of his forte. Get him outside and press the edge. And I kind of knew from previous games of Wachusett they weren't going to allow us to do that, and they lined up guys on the outside. So our game plan was to throw over the middle. We hit Del Judas with a pass over the middle early, and we had other guys open, but we missed some blocks up front, so we really didn't have the time. But as a young quarterback, it takes time to throw the ball to an area rather than throw it to where the guy is. And I if you're watching me on the sidelines, my frustration sometimes is not at him, it's for him, because I know exactly what he's going through. He's back there. There's guys coming right, left. The guy's going out for a pass, and he hasn't seen that. I mean, you saw Pat Gallagher when he was a sophomore. He was, scrambled eggs back there sometimes, running right and left, throwing a ball away. It's the same thing. I mean, when you're a young quarterback, you just learn from that experience, and I think he's done a great job. He's a competitor. He's not going to hang his head, and that's really what you need. I mean, I've never seen the deer in the headlights look with him. I just seen him be frustrated because he wants to complete passes, but for whatever reason we get breakdowns or we don't call the right play. So, it's going to come, and he's going to have his day, and it's going to start this week, I hope, and we're just going to keep working. He's going to get better and better, but he's going to be a great one, I can tell you that.
All you can do is just keep climbing back up on that horse each and every week. It's Leominster and Shepherd Hill, and it's homecoming on Saturday, October the 20th. We'll have it for you here on Leominster TV. Let's take a look at the other places you can find this coverage. And, of course, playoff baseball is still the thing. Red Sox and Astros are battling things out, so that will leave some question marks on the K-Zone. We can tell you we'll have a live stream for you at WPKZ.net. We'll also have live pre- and post-game coverage beginning at 6:30 on our Facebook Live as well. Leominster TV is going to lead the coverage. They'll be with us us on Verizon and Comcast, as noted there. Replays available if you search at Leominster TV on YouTube, and Facebook Live play-by-play begins at 7 o'clock. So all that's on tap coming up on Saturday night, and then it's 20 games for 20 years, and that begins, of course, this week on Tuesday night, October the 16th. Leominster and Everett from 2003. Jack Sully and Ed Cataldo had the call on that one. They'll have your coverage for you on that game from 2003. Then we go to Thursday, October the 18th. That's 2002. Leominster and Minichog, the Division I Super Bowl at Worcester State. Note I said the Division I Super Bowl at Worcester State. It's before they really started to monkey with the system as well. Myself, Bill McAvoy, Rich Levy have that coverage as well. So again, a lot of fun to bring back some of those games. We're getting back into those early years, going all the way back to 1999 over the next so many weeks. We can also tell you to look forward to in the coming weeks as we enter the month of November. Every single night from November the 2nd all the way to Thanksgiving night, we will have one of the 20 Thanksgiving games that were covered on television here on Leominster TV. So you can see all of them back to back to back, night after night after night. So we've got that coverage for you with our classic countdown coming in the month ahead as well. So we're looking forward to that as well. In the meantime, as we said, 7 o'clock on Saturday. Again, note that, and all day long with homecoming beginning at 10 a.m. with freshman football, followed by varsity field hockey versus Shepherd Hill, 1:45 and 3:45 for varsity girls, and then boys soccer, both playing Fitchburg, and then a 7 o'clock football versus Shepherd Hill homecoming with the homecoming court at halftime. We'll have it all for you here on Leominster TV, and we'll be back with another edition of the Coach's Corner coming up next week here on Leominster TV as well. For Leominster High School head coach and athletic director Dave Palazzi, I am Todd Robbins saying thank you so very much for joining us, and until next week, so long everybody.